ABBA, Boney M, Vietnam War, Market, Moachi, School, Kalang Raw, Flower Power,
Groovy,
Descent, People Power and Feminism.
Liberation and Revolution, War and Peace, Environmentalism.
One word is violence. But life is full of contradictions. There was also something called development, which has brought benefits to millions, but not without inequalities continuing on. So maybe that one word, sorry, after using so many words, maybe that one word is possibility.
The 1970s was a game-changing moment in Southeast Asia, marked by political flux and economic change. Here in Malaysia, the parliament was restored in 1971 after 3 years of emergency administration following the darkest and bleakest racial riots in May 1969. Amidst these events, art in Southeast Asia was also taking an interesting turn. Artists were questioning the way art was presented and changing the way they made art. Across the board, there was a radical disavowal of prevailing aesthetic conventions, such as painting and sculpture. Younger artists began exploring new mediums and different methods of expression, including photography and performance. In 1973, Nirmala Dutt Chanmugalingam, or more fondly known as Nim, submitted Statement 1 to the Man and His World competition organised by Balai Seni Negara. Take a drive through old Jalan Damansara. Take a good second look. Consider. React. Her presentation was intended to draw attention to and provide evidence of environmental degradation, both close to her and from around the world. Although the photographs was documentary in nature, Statement 1 was labelled a conceptual work in the catalogue. In conceptual art, the idea behind the work is as, if not more important than the object before you. Thought process is valued, while the execution is sometimes perfunctory. It was an art movement that took root from the 1960s through artists such as Joseph Kosuth, Sol LeWitt, and the Art and Language Group. In its first public appearance, it was accompanied by an installation of waste from the photograph site of Jalan Damansara in the Malaysian capital Kuala Lumpur.
What's extraordinary, I think, about the work is it's presented as an exhibit. The elements of an artwork as there's an artist statement of what she wants to do, an intention. There are visual elements. There's an attempt to play on the aesthetics of text, of media presentation, of photography, and of physical objects. If you read the statement, she actually invites the audience to interact with the rubbish, take away things, and then go and do something about it. So I think, for me, it's a work that makes you think, very categorically and deliberately so, yeah.
Could we zoom a bit more into the work? Could you walk us through the different constituent of Statement 1?
If we read the statement, one of the first things she mentions is Site A. So Statement 1 is a direct response to a situation of pollution, which she found just down the hill, I think, from where she was living on Jalan Damansara, which used to be a pristine, sort of green, lush, sort of foresty area. And she found that the stream was being clogged up by pollution. So one of the things she presents in the work is a grid of photographs of the polluted areas of the stream, also the entry point to the stream. So then we can follow, it's like a visual storyboard for us to follow the site. So we're supposed to look at the site in our mind and on the pictures.
You know, the choice or the use of text, as you said, was very sort of evident. Why do you think Nim chose to title this work, Statement 1?
It's interesting that it's Statement 1. I think she evidently intended it as a series of statements she was going to make. I also feel it's a sort of statement of intent for her practice. She had previously been making paintings, still lifes, landscapes, and this work for her was, I think, groundbreaking. And she'd found something she really wanted to say and a way she wanted to say it. So I think Statement 1 also refers to her kind of statement of intent for her practice as an artist and her role as an artist. The other thing about statement is that in Malay, kenyataan, both words are used in the court of law when you're making a witness statement. So kenyataan is a statement of witness. So it also relates to this idea, I think, of bearing witness or presenting evidence. She has the evidence and then she interrogates, she cross-examines the viewer as to their response and their sort of guilt or intention. Yeah. So I think all in all, the work kind of like, it's almost like she's holding your head and making you look, answer. Yeah. So I think that's the power of the work.
Was she one of the earliest sort of Malaysian artists who emphatically and quite directly confronted the degradation of environment in her work?
Yeah, I think I would definitely. I mean, I'm pressed to think of anything even before the 90s that addresses the environment in this way. And it was not just about sort of nature and the environment. It's very much about habitat and also human connectivity to the environment, how we relate. So like the texts talk about the nature of water and transformation of water. It talks about ecocide in the Vietnam War. It brings together many, many elements of this idea of the natural human environment as an ecosystem. So it's I think really, even today, it's actually pretty groundbreaking and sort of radical in its thinking.
Could you perhaps like help sum up, Nim's like entire body of work within the Statement series?
She seems to have made 4 statements that we know of. And it's been impossible to piece together the full series because boards have gone missing, texts have gone missing. So we've done our best to try to sort of to recreate the series. Within the 4 statements that we know of, between 73 and 79, it really feels like an extended essay or study of the different aspects happening to her subject. So with Statement 1, she's looking at the effects of environmental pollution, at the degradation of the landscape itself. With Statement 2, she's moved on to document the conditions of people, of a community of squatters living nearby this pollution, and nearby a residential complex that is being built, which is the cause of the pollution, and documenting the real lives, bringing us up close and personal with them. Statement 3 is interesting because it makes a comparison between these early conditions, 73 to 75, and then she goes back to the settlement and documents their conditions in 1979, and she makes that comparison. But very little has changed. Children have grown up. But then she also has taken images of the construction site in 73 to 75. And in 1979, she goes back and she takes pictures of the link houses, the rows of link houses completed. And there's a comparison between the progress, urban progress, and the unchanging conditions of the people who have been left behind. By the time we get to Statement 4, she's looking at economic disparity. She's looking at the income of a family of 10 and how they cannot afford to buy books, and much beyond feeding the family, and the sort of expenses that the wealthier classes can afford to spend on a leisure activity.
And here we are, this wonderful exhibition at Ilham. As one of the curators of this exhibition, perhaps I would ask you to kind of express, what's the key message of this exhibition, from kind of connecting Nim's practice from the 1970s and also the moment today where we live in a sort of eco-conscious and a climate crisis environment and a reality.
One of the reasons we called the exhibition of statements was to do with the clarity of Nirmala's message. Her works were supposed to deliver a message, and the intent was to agitate a response from the viewers. And within her time, over 4 decades really, it covers environmental destruction, it covers war, atrocity, genocide, and it was using news media, mass media. Even at that time, everyone is looking away. So her intention was to keep our gaze held on these issues, such as the environment. And I think today, when there's so much noise around climate change and there's lots of controversy, to have that clarity and someone to just say, look, you're destroying the world around you. What are we leaving our children? That clarity is really relevant today. I think to see the wood for the trees, if you like.